Hello everybody and welcome. If you are a fan of fermentation, this episode is for you. We're going to take all the ingredients that we have in front of us and magically transform them into a very delectable condiment used all over the world in countless incarnations. That's right, we're going to make fermented hot sauce. For me, the joy of cooking is nourished through a healthy dose of experimentation, and this recipe is a prime example of that. It took me about 3 to 4 iterations to finally arrive at this particular formula, one that I called the orange one, and you'll see at the end it has this very vibrant orange color that thus gives it its name. Before we get into the ingredients, I'd love to talk about the hardware that we're going to be using today. Now, talking about experimentation, the most important thing for that is to keep a log of everything that you do. And since we are going to be dealing with super hot peppers, I highly recommend wearing gloves of some sort. You're just going to want to protect yourself from that oil. Trust me. Next, the vessel. I have a couple of different glass jars here. There's all sorts of things that you can ferment in, but today, since we have so much stuff, we're actually going to be using something a little different. Yeah, we're going to be using this guy. It's a 2-gallon crock. It has some weights in it. It's just a non-reactive surface. It's going to be perfect for what we're doing. And last but not least, I have our scale. This is going to be your best friend when you're experimenting. You're going to get the most accurate measurements this way. It's how I record all my measurements when I'm experimenting in the kitchen. But if you don't have a scale, I will translate everything for you on the screen so that you can ferment along. Okay, let's talk about our ingredients. As we mentioned, it's the orange one. We want everything to be orange. So we have some orange and yellow bell peppers, some shallots, ginger, garlic, carrots, habaneros, turmeric, black peppercorns, and salt for our brine. And you may be saying to yourself, wow, Paul, that seems like a ton of ingredients. Well, you're right. I actually took the original recipe and I tripled it. And the reason is that I got a call from friend of the channel and Killa Wasi owner, Chef Katie, the other night, who was saying, hey, I need some of that fermented hot sauce for my food truck. Can you make me some? And I said, of course. The next day, she showed up at the house with a ton of ingredients. So here we go. We're going to bust out the 2-gallon crock, and we're going to make a huge vat of hot sauce. I'll let you know at the very end, or maybe right here, how much actual sauce I ended up creating. Now, there is one basic principle that you do need to follow if you are going to be experimenting with your fermented hot sauce. And that is all of your ingredients need to be submerged in your brine. Very similar to how we did the fermented jalapenos in a previous episode, we want to make sure that everything stays safe under that salt brine. This will also be a lacto-fermentation, so there's a laundry list of health benefits, but there's also just some great food benefits as well. It is important to note that if you are going to be fermenting in glass jars with screw-on lids, that you do burp it, especially in the first week, and just always monitor your ferment. Okay. Let's go ahead and get started. We have a lot of preparation to do here today. Now, my favorite way to peel ginger is to take a spoon. I've showed this before, but it's still worth showing again. I don't need to get super fine. I can go with a slice like this and we can ferment this. The ginger's all sliced up. It ended up being about 90 grams. Let's call it 3/4 of a cup. Up next is the garlic. I'm looking for about 60 grams. Garlic is done. It's 2 whole pods or 71 grams or a little more than half a cup. Okay, turmeric is next. But before we do that, a new cutting board. Much like the ginger, we are going to peel this and thinly slice it. We're looking for about 90 grams. I love the subtle flavor that these root vegetables will give off in the hot sauce. Plus the turmeric is really going to add to that orange color. 90 grams of sliced up turmeric into the fermentation vessel. That's going to equal about 3/4 of a cup. Next on the list is our shallots. We need 475 grams of shallots. Let's get to it. Well, that hit the sinuses. 475 grams later, we have 5 cups. I don't know. I think you need to get a scale. We're gonna add that into our fermentation vessel. Oh man, we're starting to look good now. Okay, up next, carrots. The carrots are gonna start to form a barrier to keep everything below the surface of the water. So that's why I'm going to look to make them long and thin as possible. We're also looking for 750 grams of carrots. 750 grams of carrots, you get the idea. It's a lot. It's more than the 4-cup container. So in the fermentation vessel, what I want to start doing is kind of placing these down, and they're just going to kind of be gatekeepers for everything underneath, all the smaller stuff, the ginger, the garlic, the turmeric. Next, I'm going to add the peppercorns. Fun fact, black pepper helps your body absorb turmeric. Now is the moment when we move into the heat part of the hot sauce, and that's the habanero pepper, a very spicy pepper. This is typically a more floral pepper. It has more floral attributes, and peppers are delicious if you can get past the heat. That's one of the reasons why I love hot sauce. Okay, I'm gonna take off the tops of these peppers, and then I'm going to find one of the membranes and then just kind of slice down it. I want to preserve this membrane because that's actually where a lot of the heat is going to be. I'm going to remove the seeds though. Well, 250 grams later, and I would say about 4 cups. That one was a little bit easier. We've sliced up all of our habaneros, the heat. So let's add it to the fermentation vessel. And we're almost done. Do want to make sure that I'm kind of giving this a little pack down. So last is the bell pepper. We're looking for 900 grams of bell pepper. And that's all 900 grams. Every once in a while, push everything down to make sure it's nice and compact. It's our last step. We need to make a brine. We're looking for about a 2.5 to 3% salinity. So I'm going to actually just take a jar, pour some water in it, weigh it out, and figure out how much I need to add. And I'm guessing we're gonna need quite a bit. I've never made this much before, so we'll see how it goes. So I have 2,500 grams of water, so I'm gonna need between 60 and 75 grams of salt. There we go. All right, everything is set. We're gonna add the brine. Now, I'm gonna add it pretty slowly. We're gonna push it down every once in a while to try and agitate the air pockets out of it. Oh, it's a perfect amount of brine. I'm not kidding, couldn't have planned that better. So happy about that. I do have some fermentation weights, so I'm gonna put these in now, and these are gonna help keep everything below that water line. It's nice and submerged. We just need to cover it. So I'm gonna put a towel first. And then I'm gonna put the ceramic lid on there. We're gonna let it sit out on the counter for about 1 to 2 weeks. I'll see you as we check in. Welcome back, everybody. It's been 2 weeks since we started the ferment. Everything went swimmingly, and we are ready to make the hot sauce. You can see that the brine is very cloudy, and that's a great sign that the fermentation's been working. So the first thing that we're gonna do is remove our weights. And now we're going to strain everything. I have a vessel in the bottom of the sink that's gonna catch the brine. We do wanna use this brine in our hot sauce, so. Oh my goodness. Try not to make a huge mess. Wow. Well, that was pretty shocking. The garlic turned blue and then it kind of leached into some of the other vegetables around it. It's a pretty unique phenomenon when the garlic's in a very acidic environment. I wonder what it's going to do to the overall color of our hot sauce. We're going for a vibrant orange. We'll see how that plays out. Everything is still fine though. Everything is fermented. And if you want to double check, always do a smell test and then always do a taste test. Tastes like fermented garlic. Next up is blending. We basically want to take all of this, blend it into a sauce. We'll use the brine when needed. I'm also going to add some raw apple cider vinegar to the mix. This is optional. I just like the way that it also kind of cuts into it a little bit, and it's a great complement. And there you have it, our finished sauce. It tastes great. It preserved quite a bit of the heat. It has the funkiness you would expect from a fermented hot sauce and a nice tang to round it all out. If you find yourself in Austin in the next few months, go see the Killa Wasi food truck at Independence Brewery in South Austin. They're gonna have some of this hot sauce there for you. I'd love to hear what you guys think if you actually get to try something that we make on the show. How cool is that? Well, I'm going to go ahead and get to bottling because I have to bottle this and all of these in here. So from my kitchen to yours, happy cooking everybody and happy fermenting. We'll see you next time.